Leia is faced with the events of the past. The Jedi Purge, Vader force-choking her mother, Order 66, Obi-Wan battling Anakin, Padme's death, and lastly, how Obi-Wan and Yoda separated Leia from her brother as newborn children. Leia was overwhelmed by the sudden influx of information and strong emotions. She sits and meditates in the depths of the dark side nexus. By the time Yoda and Luke find her, she is no longer Leia, but a fully realized Sith Lord. She is totally primed for revenge. When she exits the cave, all three stare at each other. Leia breaks the awkward silence by saying, "Welcome back to Star Wars District. I hope all is well." Let's jump into the fan fiction of what if Princess Leia became a Sith Lord. While you think about what her Sith Lord name should be, please hit the like and subscribe button so my channel can grow. Now, Leia as a Sith Lord might seem a bit unbelievable from a certain point of view. Shout out to Obi-Wan. Now, Leia has always been presented as a relatively grounded person, never too off the wall or extreme in her actions. So the question becomes, what could cause her to stray so much from her norm to become a Sith? The simple answer is none other than her brother Luke Skywalker. In this what if, while on the planet Hoth, Luke received his Force vision from Obi-Wan Kenobi to visit Master Yoda on the planet Dagobah. The purpose was so Luke could receive training in the ways of the Jedi from the last true Jedi Master. What Luke was not aware of was that the vision itself was a trap, as Admiral Akbar famously said. Now Luke would successfully make it to the swamp planet Dagobah, but his X-Wing landing in the swamp was not an accident. It was by design. Remember that Luke is a skilled pilot. Landing a ship on a planet is not a major challenge for Luke. Yoda intends to keep Luke stranded on the planet. Luke did not tell anyone, other than R2-D2, that he was going to Dagobah, and thus nobody could find him. Master Yoda and Obi-Wan are working together to keep Luke isolated. The main reason is they want Vader to become one with the Force. Obi-Wan is a Force ghost. He is no longer in the realm of the living. On the other hand, Yoda recognizes that he is dying soon, and as the last of the authentic Jedi, he desperately wants Vader gone. Yoda and Obi-Wan have debated over the years that Luke is not the best candidate to face Vader. So they decide to train Leia instead. After all, Leia is a much more serious, focused, and disciplined person in comparison to the version of Luke that we are first introduced to on Tatooine. So when Yoda senses the X-Wing arriving to Dagobah, he uses the Force to manipulate the upper atmosphere to create extremely dense fog, and he then subtly guides the X-Wing into the swamp. His only means of travel is slowly sinking into the murky water. Yoda's plan is working thus far, effectively isolating Luke from the rest of the galaxy. Yoda agrees to train Luke. Being true to his word, the Grand Master does slowly train Luke, but in a manner that the impatient Luke would get highly frustrated from. Yoda would motivate, counsel, and then craftily sabotage Luke's training sessions, but in small ways that would prolong and delay Luke's gains and progress. Meanwhile, Force Ghost Obi-Wan was teaching Leia the ways of the Force and Jedi practices like Force shields, tutelage, lightsaber combat, meditation, healing, etc., etc. Yoda, via Obi-Wan, is guiding Leia to face and destroy Vader. It does not take much to get her on board with the plan because first thing, Leia does not like how Vader tortured her on the Death Star, and second, Vader is a tremendous problem for the rebellion. With Luke gone, she feels that it is her burden to rid the galaxy of Vader. Plus, she feels that Vader, or maybe the Emperor himself, may have played a hand in the disappearance of Luke. Now Obi-Wan does his job very well. She confides in her master about her fears, insecurities, and hatred. As a result, Leia forms a real bond, all while Obi-Wan was lying to her. Years have passed, and Leia was able to expand her Force abilities and skills. However, the stronger she got, the more she could not shake the feeling that something was simply wrong with her situation. She could sense deception with Obi-Wan, but could not trace the source or even why he would attempt to trick her in the first place. Not having any way to check, she decided to simply trust in the Force. For now, that is. All the while, Luke is getting stronger from his training, but at a significantly slower pace than Leia. Yoda and Obi-Wan evaluate their student. After careful consideration, Obi-Wan announced that her skills have reached a point where she could successfully face Vader in combat. Leia was excited to complete her training, but in times of deep concentration and meditation, Leia was able to have small glimpses of Luke, surrounded by swampland but older than when she last saw him. When she confronted Obi-Wan about it, he smoothly sidestepped her questions. But as a trained rebellion leader and princess, she knew something was definitely wrong. Still troubled by her feelings, Leia dived deeper into the Force than she ever has. With intent and a bit of desperation, she focused on Luke and after much effort was able to see him training. Seeing Luke and feeling him alive through the Force made Leia extremely happy but also confused and increasingly angry. Her trusted master and friend was lying to her. The brother she thought was dead is actually alive. She wanted answers. So Leia used the Force to sneakily mentally connect with Obi-Wan. Her training and Force gifts aided her. The act reveals what planet Luke is currently on. Sensing that the deception had finally failed, Obi-Wan ultimately told Leia the truth. Yoda and himself kept Luke and Leia separated because they only wanted to train Leia. As the last members of the Jedi High Council, they sensed she had the higher chance of completing the Jedi mission. Leia was more mentally disciplined, and it was determined that she has stronger Force abilities than Luke. Her trust was shattered. She did her best to listen to Obi-Wan. But Leia lost her known family when Alderaan was destroyed and then Luke, a core member of her new family. All unnecessarily due to Jedi deception. Leia is trying to remain calm, but Obi-Wan has managed to open a deep well of pain and anger in Leia. Forcefully, she demands to see Luke immediately. Thus, Obi-Wan provided the coordinates to Dagobah. She travels the galaxy to be reunited with Luke. Upon arrival to Dagobah, her sense of anger and joy are both heightened. Leia safely lands on the swamp planet and releases strong Force pulses to get a sense of where Luke is. Instead, she finds the dark side cave first. She is drawn to it and does not resist. Entering the cave, it's like she enters a time warp. Leia is faced with the events of the past. The Jedi Purge, Vader force-choking her mother, Order 66, Obi-Wan battling Anakin, Padme's death, and lastly, how Obi-Wan and Yoda separated Leia from her brother as newborns. Leia was overwhelmed by the sudden influx of information. She sits and meditates in the dark side nexus. By the time Yoda and Luke find her, she is no longer Leia, but a fully realized Sith Lord. All three stare at each other. Leia breaks the silence. Her only question for Luke and Yoda is, what should my Sith Lord name be? Let me know the answer down in the comments section. Please watch my other videos on the channel while I am working on my next What If. Take care for now and peace.